Welcome back. Sunterra Market is a successful family-run grocery chain. The organization has evolved in its thinking and operations since 1970. In the second part of an interview done earlier this year, we talked to Dave Price about the company's approach to food safety and consumer perceptions.
Well, I think food safety for us has always been, the way to address health and food safety has been there right from the beginning, because in 1970 our organization started with a very high health status pig breeding stock, and so the protocols that were necessary and the things that we needed to be thinking about from a risk side were part of that world. And so as we moved down the production chain into the processing and into retail, we had sort of an innate, an already existing sensitivity to the risks. Mm-hmm. So it's a case of thinking about all those things, ensuring that the team is focused on those things that will reduce risk. And you can't make it zero, but you can try to make it as low or close to that as you can. And so that's what we do. Everybody is pretty tuned into the need to be careful.
Individual companies play a key role in communicating trust to the consumer. So does the industry. We talked to Dr. David Chalack, chairman of the Alberta Meat and Livestock Agency, about the One Health concept emerging in animal agriculture and what it means to the consumer. And Alma's really come up with this terminology called the One Health Roadmap, which is a report that was done a little while back. And you're going to talk today about the One Health concept. So tell us a little bit about that concept as well as what Alma's doing with it.
I'd be delighted to, and thanks for the invitation, Rob. Certainly the One Health concept and that initiative is certainly well known around the world these days, but it has a great fit with Alma and what we do. One Health is a collaborative effort undertaken locally, nationally, and globally at the intersection of animal health, human health, and the environment. And of course, we're looking for better health outcomes for animals, humans, and the environment. We at Alma, as you know, fund a great deal of research. And in fact, the sphere of influence of One Health is really quite broad. And so when we are funding various initiatives, and by the way, we have deployed millions of dollars in this arena. Most recently, we've had 2 calls for proposals, $2 million, and the title of that call is One Health, where we want probably a greater emphasis and input from the animal health side, but certainly recognizing that there's collaboration and the interaction with human health and with the environment and sustainability. And then speaking of sustainability, we've had an additional call just recently for another $2 million on sustainability. Now there's a package of $4 million, which is significantly contributing to new research. We had in all, I think, 40 respondents, and from that there was a total of $27 million asked for. So there's great interest and significance in this area of research.
Great. Now you also mentioned CFIAS has a role in this as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and some of your recent experiences with that?
Yes, I just had a terrific experience in Winnipeg. I'm on another board that is very complementary to the Alma board, and that is I'm chairman of the Canadian Food Inspection Advisory Board to the Minister, Ritz, and we had our recent meetings in Winnipeg where there is a level 4, that's one of the highest level labs for security and all of the very, very dangerous...
And that's biosecurity?
Biosecurity. And it's one of the few labs in the world where there is true collaboration, which shows us the way forward for One Health. We have the Public Health Agency of Canada has part of the facilities there, and CFIA, which is the animal part. And if you understand that probably 60% of human diseases are what are called zoonoses, meaning that they can be transferred from animals to humans. And therefore, understanding these diseases, understanding transmission, and the incredible impact it has on our economy and the global economy is very important. So that's an illustration how One Health should work, rather than the public health system in one silo, animal health in another, and then environment in another.
So how does that get deployed in your viewpoint?
Well, there are now networks being set up where physicians, nurses, veterinarians, ecologists, economists, all spheres that are touched by health, whether it be human health, animal health, or health of the environment, where those interactions are, those professionals need to be working together. No one can work in isolation. And I'm proud to say that ALMA and its initiative, supported by the government of Alberta, is leading the way in deploying tax dollars for the betterment of all three sectors.
So we have the medical community, we have the research community, we have the food production community, all coming together to ensure a safe food supply. So at the end of the day, how is the consumer impacted? What are the expected benefits to the consumer over time?
Well, just a correction, and it is food supply is one.
Okay.
But our everyday health, for example, West Nile. Of course, E. coli is associated with food, but there are so many other diseases. You know, rabies, we have West Nile, H1N1, and all of the avian flu diseases. So many new viruses are, if you take a step back, Rob, and you see that our population is growing, people are concentrated more and more in urban locales, and people travel more and are in closer association with animals. This gives a tremendous opportunity and vector system for diseases to be spread.
Definitely.
From China to North America, from Mexico to North America, and you've seen that with SARS, H1N1, and many other viruses and bacteria.
So how does that give the consumer assurance that not just the food supply, but everything that's being done is working?
Well, I'll tell you, I left our lab. It's a federal government lab, this lab in Winnipeg, and we went down into the bowels of that. We couldn't get into where they're working on Ebola virus and foot and mouth and these other viruses. But the confidence that I have now, it was a real awakening where we see the networks that are set up. You know, information is power. And so surveillance, I can't stress the importance of the surveillance and the need for consumers to know that governments need to invest in their health agencies, in their federal food inspection agencies, so that we can undertake surveillance, early detection, and then develop vaccines or situations where we can isolate and quarantine viruses to prevent infections. So it's much more than about the food you eat, but it's about the air you breathe, the contact that you have with animals and humans to minimize the disease exposure.
That's a fascinating topic, and we hope that you'll come back sometime and keep us updated.
There's a great deal to talk about, and ALMA will be holding its next board meetings in Lethbridge, so we can visit the federal lab in Lethbridge that does a lot of work on prions, and we know that with BSE that's important, so I'd love to come back and talk to you about that.
And I guess there's a plug that you're also a guest speaker at the upcoming Alberta Genomics Conference in October.
Absolutely. Genomics is a really key technology in all of this discovery work.
Excellent. Thank you for coming in today.
My pleasure, Rob.
The One Health concept is all about increasing consumer confidence in the food production system. Its goal is to show that the industry is taking a responsible approach and produces products that are safe and wholesome. We'll be taking a more in-depth look at this concept on upcoming episodes. When we come back, we'll talk to another industry group about their efforts to create consumer trust by developing a food safety certification and traceability process.